Yeah, we don't show these often. These are ones I have a few in my playbook that time and score, depending on when we need it.
Okay.
But sometimes I'll go a season not even running a play that I had. It's just making sure the timing's right.
Mm-hmm.
So you may never see this one again.
Welcome back to another episode of Not Even E2. I'm your host KJ Allison here with my boy Naruto Perdomo. How you doing today, fam?
Doing good, man. Only had 2 classes today. Utica versus Poly tonight. It's a big game, so I'm gonna head out there. But overall, I'm doing well, bro. How about you?
That's a definitely big game rematch of the EA chip. Who you think Poly's projected to win? What are they both 1 and 2 seeds?
So, I guess if you look at just standings wise, yeah, like they Poly beat 2 teams that Utica has lost to this year, but we know the vibes with Utica though. So
I fuck with it. I fuck with it. But yeah, that's a big game. Let me know how that go.
for sure.
I'm good though. I got class tonight, bro. I'm sick. And I wanted to talk before we talk about this episode. I want to talk some college basketball, specifically about like this freshman class. Obviously, it's been getting a lot of talk around this class because they really have a chance to be historically good when you talk about their projections in the draft and then their future. But I was looking at the mock drafts, and 9 out of the 10 first picks are all freshmen. And then you talk about AJ DiVincenzo, had 43 the other night. Kingston Flemings went crazy for like 42. Not to mention Cameron Boozer, who's leading the country in scoring. Darius Cuff's not even in the top 10. He's elite. Caleb Wilson, who's the dude on Kansas?
Darian Peterson, Michael
He's
Brown.
been bugging. Yeah, like this freshman class is tough. I've been watching a lot of them, but I'm kind of curious, who would Naruto Perdomo take as his number 1 pick?
Oh, I mean, number 1, I think you got to go AJ DiVincenzo. He's ridiculous, bro. I mean, watching him play, you can't go wrong with any one of them. But just watching AJ play, his fluidity for his size, his athleticism, his touch, his motor, and the BYU coach, I'm forgetting his name off the top of the dome, but he got them playing hard, bro. I mean, I think they only have 2 losses thus far because they didn't lose to Arizona last night, right?
No, they did.
They did?
They was down by a lot, but they had a really good comeback. They had a final shot to make it an overtime game, but they missed. But yeah, they lost. Arizona was elite though.
Yeah, but overall, I just think AJ's ceiling is crazy, bro. But like I said, you can't go wrong. I think an underrated pick though is Koa Pete. I believe that's his name, from Arizona. He's very, very good. I think he could be a good player down the line.
Yeah, I'm not as high on Koa, so we'll definitely have to keep arguing about him. I think that you know I'm big on AJ. I was saying for a while that I think his ceiling is higher than Cooper's ceiling, and people probably, if they're listening, might be like, you're bugging. And Cooper's playing better in the league, but I just think AJ has the potential to get so much better than a lot of what Cooper brings to the table, especially because when you strictly talk like athletic base, AJ is a freak when it comes to that. But we definitely got to talk more about college hoops in a later episode. Who's your MVP right now for the league, though?
For the NBA right now, who would I say? I mean, I feel like the safe pick is Shea at this point. I mean, he's killing. But I want to say low-key Cade Cunningham, bro. I mean, the Pistons are, 33-11, I think, right now. 34-11, something like that. Best record in the East. Like, they're balling right now. He got them rolling. He's first-team All-NBA already. I don't want to say Luka, to be honest. He's disappointed me this year. I know he's averaging 35, but I don't know. I would say probably Shea or Cade, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's tough, especially with the 65-game rule that they have right now, because you can't even talk about dudes, Joker, Wemby, other people too, Curry. So you already know I'm saying Shea, but Cade's definitely up there, bro, because they're only a game behind the Thunder in the loss category. So if they are the 1 seed and they're right behind the Thunder, he got a real argument. But I still think most of Shea's stats are kind of surpassing Cade, and he's way more efficient. So that's my pick. But we haven't even introduced today's episode. We had a crazy episode with Coach Inoue. I said it right? You know I'm bad.
I believe so. I believe so.
Okay.
Yes.
She's currently the head coach of UC Irvine. They're having a really good year. They're 17-3 right now. I was think that at the time of this recording they were 16-2, and I was saying they got a real chance to be in that large team to get into the tournament. I don't think they took a loss this past weekend, so I don't know if that's still in the cards. But either way, 17-3, they're rolling right now. They're a really good team. And when you hear her talk, bro, it's no surprise. Like, she's a really good offensive mind. She is humble enough to give her assistants a lot of control when it comes to the defensive end, and they're a well-oiled machine at this point. But what you think about this episode?
Shout out Coach Inoue for getting on. It was definitely a great conversation. I was super when I walked away from this episode. This definitely, for oddly enough, was one of my like favorite ones, just because we talked so much about the UC Irvine women's basketball program, because they have a great program. Excuse me. I mean, I think you mentioned that they're 17-2 or 17-3 right now, 8-1 in conference. Obviously, they just lost one, but she has a program that it's a winning program year after year. I mean, they went to the March Madness, I believe, 2 years ago. So, she's trying to guide them back to the tournament. And I know you said UC San Diego. I know Santa Barbara is up there too for top teams in the conference, but they have some great players in Jada, Wynn, and Hunter Hernandez, bro. And obviously Coach Inoue with her staff, they're getting them prepared. And I can't see why they don't make a March Madness run this year, or at least in the conference tournament. Obviously it's going to be competitive, but she has those girls playing hard and playing some good basketball, man, and I'm not surprised why they're so good.
Yeah, we did another film breakdown. If you haven't watched the film breakdown with Joel Foxwell, go check that out. But I was telling you, like, this film breakdown with Coach, especially some of her ATOs, is high level. She's a really good, set drawer, if that's the phrase to use. But I was really impressed by how, like, her concepts and why she's running certain things. I was super impressed by that. And then when you think about it, bro, she's only been head coach at UC Irvine for 10 years and already has changed that program around tremendously. Like, they're obviously known as one of the best teams in the Big West, but like you said, they could make a run in this year's tournament and start getting some national eyes on them. And we talked a lot about Hunter Hernandez and Jada Wynn. Their whole roster is good, but specifically those two, and it was cool to hear how they're gelling as teammates, or how she's got both of them to buy in. So this is a really good conversation. I don't know if you have extra thoughts before we get into the convo.
Nah, I mean, I said this to you, I think, this morning. I don't see why. Obviously, you're more familiar with WNBA than I am, but so you could tell me if this is a naive take, but I don't see why Jada or Hunter can't go play in the W. I mean, when I watch Hunter's game especially, she's shooting it from three, and like I saw a video where she dropped somebody with a little like hezzy. It was like a little hezzy, and the girl just fell right to her knees. I was like, yeah, that's tough. And she's killing this year, and she's made a jump year after year after year in her college career, bro. So, Coach Inoue, she definitely got a special group over there for sure.
Coach Inoue, if you try and patch us in with Hunter, you listening, you want to get on the show, we definitely got to talk to you, get some film breakdown with you as well. Real quick, so the viewers know. So, of course, I made a mistake, and I was using a different mic in this episode. So sometimes you might hear echo, or I try to do my best editing it out. So if you hear like certain pauses, or Coach Inoue, if you're watching her and she looks like she's gathering her thoughts, she had a crazy echo going on. So that's the reason for that. But I think I'm an A-tier editor as well, and I got that out the way. But that'll do it. Make sure you subscribe. Go follow us at Not Even D2. A lot of great content coming out. Rudy be doing his thing for the socials. So go check that out. And let's get into the conversation with Coach Inoue.
All right, we are here back again for another episode of Not Even D2. And today we have UC Irvine women's basketball coach, Coach Inoue. Did I say it right?
You did.
All right. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. We were talking a little bit off air. You guys got a big game tomorrow, round 2 of the conference play. So if you could walk us through a little bit of what the schedule's been like. I'm always interested at how coaches like what their mindset is before a game, what the schedule's like for you. Talk about that.
I mean, we're fortunate on the West Coast here in the Big West Conference. A lot of our conferences bust. We only get on the plane a couple times. So that is really positive for our student athletes and for our routine. So our routine is only Thursday, Saturdays in conference, which gets us into a nice place. So good preparation. We, I'm a big routine person, so big on routine, and then just prepping.
I'm wondering, Coach. I know it's a busy time right now. You have scout, you practiced, but I know Irvine is right by the coast. Are you finding time to go to the beach? Because like I told you, I'm out here in upstate New York, and it's snowing like crazy. So I'm missing the beach.
Yeah, I mean, it's maybe 5 miles from here. So um, to say we don't see the beaches would be a lie.
Nah, I feel like you're just trying to troll us right now. We're over here freezing cold, walking to classes and stuff. You chilling with some shorts on. I'm a little jealous. Um,
Yeah.
but let's definitely talk about some basketball now. I mean, UC Irvine's having a great year, 16-2 and 15-game win streak, which is crazy. So before I talk about like how you're prepping the team game to game, I'm kind of curious. So you start 1-2. Was like there any doubt in your head, like, damn, this is not might not be our year? Because like a 15-game win streak is crazy, but 1-2 start must have been a little bit ahead. Like, am I doing the right things?
Yeah, I think this year we returned only one starter. And so a lot of newcomers and then returners stepping into bigger roles. So we were going to be patient with them and just making sure we were at least getting the culture and the understanding correctly. So to go 1-2 is not a surprise. I don't overreact. We just got to get back into the gym and get right.
I feel that. So what is the message right now? Like 16-2, and the Big West only has one team going to the
Yeah.
tournament. So I mean, if you guys were to finish however many games there are, say there's 13. If you guys finish, 29-2, there's probably an at-large case even if you don't win the Big West. So what is the message that you're telling the team with so much at stake? It's either
Yeah.
Big West tournament champions get in, or we got to be basically perfect the rest of the year to get in.
Yeah, I mean, for us, it is a tournament win of the AQ. That's really what we're focused on. Obviously, getting us in the best position possible. Seeding's important as well. And so it's just, for us, it's just getting better every day. It is still a long season. We have 14 more conference games. And then we just got to get ready for the tournament. So it's just not, if you look too far ahead, I think you get into trouble.
Talk about your approach so far during the season, because when I look at the statistics, top 25 in opponents' points per game, top 40 in the country in scoring margins, 35th in 3-point percentage. Those are all the stats that stood out to me. So, talk about what you're seeing from your team thus far.
Yeah, I think it's the players, in this portal season, NIL world, getting players is more challenging. But you got to do a good job of finding the right one. And when you find the right pieces, this year, I think we've got some really good solid pieces that really care about their role. We don't really have any egos at this time. It is about the team wins. I think that's what's making us good.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of those pieces, Hunter Hernandez, she's been with the program a long time. I'm kind of curious if you could talk about like her career, because I feel like it hasn't been just smooth sailing. She's been through some things, but more what I'm curious about is, so first year she won Big West All Rookie Team, and then
Hmm.
next year she's first team. Following year she gets hurt. Year after that she's first team again, and now she's having the best season of her career, averaging 19 points and 6 rebounds, all career highs. She's probably going to be player of the year in the Big West if she keeps it up. So just talk about like how you've been able to, because that's two first teams in one all rookie team, how you've been able to keep her in the era of transfer portal, NIL,
Yeah.
things of that nature.
She's a competitor and she's a winner. I think, we've been fortunate to have success and we're winning. We saw the tournament once. I know she wants to get back. I think for her, Irvine's a good place to live. Academically, it's solid. She really cares about this place and this community. She's done a great job across campus with the professors. just, making connections. She started her own company. I think these are things that are more important to her than maybe the NIL money, go get a payday, but then I lose all my network. And so I think that's a big part of it, as well as us being at Irvine, for her to potentially be player of the year, but more importantly, get us back to the tournament. I think those are really important for her because we are a 1AQ conference. And if we go, it's going to be a lot because of her.
It definitely makes sense. Like watching the film, she's a bucket. We have a couple ATOs like on film that we got from this past season, and you've drawn up a lot of plays for her. She comes through. She comes
Yeah,
through for sure.
she's used to it. I think I was doing it since her freshman year. She is a very talented player. We knew what we were getting. Convincing her that she was as good as it was hard. But she's there now. So it's brought the process. Relationships are big, and just the trust. It's huge.
It's crazy you bring that up because Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, a through line when it comes to the transfer portal and keeping players, I feel is like building community. And that's what you have with Hunter, creating an environment where she feels comfortable to stay with the network she has, with the coaching from you. It's just awesome to see.
Yeah. I'm very grateful every day.
No, definitely. And another transfer that came in, Jada Wynn. She's
Yep.
been really killing for you guys. So talk about her impact on the team as well.
Yeah, I think Jada, we've known her since she was very little. But with her, she's a Power Four kid, and she did do that Power Four experience, and did well. I think for her, coming back home, playing in front of her family, but more importantly, I think the championship, the idea of cutting nets, getting a ring, getting a banner. I think she sees the opportunity at Irvine that it is possible. And so I think for her coming here, she's a 1-2 option, and I think that's been really good for her, and she's ready for it. And so that's been fun.
I'm kind of curious if you could talk about like that recruitment process with her because leaving Texas Tech, like I imagine people in her corner are like, you're leaving a Texas Tech playing in a P4 conference and you're going to the Big West. Like there's a lot of uncertainty doing that. So if you just talk about, individual conversations with her, but also maybe who else was trying to get her as well.
Oh, I think she could have gone anywhere she wanted. I think the biggest thing with Jada is trust. I think the relationship piece we talk about, and just the understanding of what she can get here. And I think championships matter. I think that there's no better feeling than cutting nets down. The Power Four, as it should be, 5 or 6 teams can go to the tournament, but you could never cut the nets down. And I think what's fun at the mid-major here and the pressure here is you must win. I think that's the hardest part. But that pressure, I think, just humbly, in my opinion, is you're very hireable once you finish. Because when you go through an interview, I know how to take pressure and I know how to win. And I think that's the fun part. And I think with Jada, that's really what she's chasing. I think she really wants that idea. And then her family's here. Her grandparents come to every game. Her mom, her sister, her dad, fortunately, is on the bench every day. So I think these are things that help.
I'm wondering, obviously, being comfortable is a factor and playing well, but if you look at Jada's stats, she's having like her first years at Texas Tech. It's not really comparable to what she's doing now at UC Irvine. So talk about the impact that you probably had on her.
I think that's a big piece. I think when you go Power Four, everybody's good. Everybody can do everything. And so separating yourself, I think, is pretty difficult. Not impossible, but it's difficult. I think players like Jada coming to a good mid-major, you can differentiate yourself pretty fast. And she's proven that. It's not that she just comes naturally. She puts the work in to make sure it happens. I think that's a big difference to where she's doing and she just been nominated, and she's in the top 15 right now for the Becky Hammon Player of the Year award. So she's proven it.
Definitely a huge honor. Shout out to her. I'm wondering, I'm kind of interested what your player development sessions look like because you have two elite players that are playing for your program. So, and like we talked about Hunter, she made a crazy jump in her development. Jada has made a crazy jump in her development. Obviously, I'm not naming other players, but I assume so they have as
Yeah.
well. So talk about what those development sessions look like.
Yeah. For us, I have tremendous assistants. Every female on my staff has been a Division I player themselves. And so I think that plays a big role for the way they can relate and the way they can perform and the way they can get in the gym with them. And with Derek Wynn on my staff, he has more experience than I do coaching Division I. So I think the experience of my staff speaks volumes to why our players develop at a faster rate. We do believe in player development. I think that's why the mid major is so fun for me, because you have the opportunity to keep them for 4 years potentially, and really see a growth. And if they grow a lot faster at a higher rate, and they want to go to P4, I'm going to give them a hug and wish them the best. I think those are also opportunities they can take too. But I think for here, we definitely spend a lot of time with them. The coaches are available. I live very close to campus, and so do my assistants, and we are here. That's the fun part. We aren't getting constantly pulled in the business sense. We are really present and available to our players.
Yeah, one thing I was also wondering about is, so Hunter was having a great year, like previous years, and then when you tell her, like, we got someone like Jada Wynn coming in, there could be one of two things: either like, oh, you're trying to
Sure.
bring someone to be the one person, or it's like we could be a 1A 1B type of combination. One, how was she receptive to that, and then also how have they kind of like gelled together and built like a good two man?
Yeah, I think Hunter all summer in the spring was constantly on my staff. Like, who are you bringing in? We got to win. Like, and so she's not by any means going, it's about me, me, me at all. When she gets accolades, she doesn't even post about it. She only has one thing and one thing in mind, and that's that's championship, going to tournament. I think the egos with both of those are not present, and that's rare. I think we all have egos, but I think with those two, winning really is important. I think they're both here, the same goal, just their path has been different. And so I think that really they complement each other really well, on top of the other players that I have on my team that are really, really around to get what we want.
Yeah. Transitioning past the players, I mean, your defense is always really good. The year you guys went to the tournament, it was like a nationally ranked scoring defense, and then
Hmm.
this year, just to bring up some of the statistics, you guys are only allowing 56 points per game. Teams are shooting 34% from the field and 26% from three. So they're not making shots, whether that's like just how you're teaching it or the looks that they're getting. So I'm curious if you could walk us through how you structure your defense. And also another point that I seen on Synergy, you guys have a lot of zone possession. So if you could talk about like how you balance going man to man or zone, different games, that would be clutch too.
Yeah. I mean, my associate head coach, CC Russell Nava, and Derek Wynn, my other assistant, they run the defense. All credit goes to those two. They watch film, they see the player, they evaluate them. Um, I think from the very beginning, I think within the first few practices, I think Coach CC was saying we're a zone team this year. And so I think they can evaluate it pretty quickly. They know what we want. I rarely, if ever, question. You will see me getting a water break during a timeout if it's the defensive possession. Like, I fully trust their decisions and what they do. That's the beauty of my staff, is that I don't have to do everything, and they really step up on that. So any of my nationally ranked stuff is no credit towards me, but it's towards my staff.
I mean, at the end of the day, you do deserve credit because there's a lot of head coaches that will. I'm not doing that. Like, you're my
Mhm.
assistant. What I say goes, and you can give me suggestions, but like I'm not gonna 100% take them. But I think what was the name of the New Mexico's head coach? Because I heard you talking to
Mark Track,
yeah. So you were saying that he gave you a lot of power to
a lot. Hmm.
so that's probably where it's stemming from. But we like Ruda mentioned, we got some ATOs. You don't have to give too much of like, oh, this is what the play is called. But I do want to highlight some things because you're running some good stuff. out of the
Okay.
ATOs. Let me see. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
it
Irvine,
it's
Arizona.
it's good to see,
Okay.
or it's hard to see.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it.
Ruda, what about you? You can see it.
I'm good. I'm good.
All right, bet. So first one out of bounds. So boom. Initially, you got an up screen here. Against most teams, you're probably not gonna get this first look, but play keeps developing, and then it's just a great screen here. But like you end up getting an open look because there was such a great screen set. But what is the intention with this initial play? Is it to get Jada the ball here and let her play 1-on-1? What's your goal with this play?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of options in it. Option one was, I think, getting Daniela. I think my post play of the ball. Yeah, is initial. Just
So
to set a good screen there. Just be done there. Be done right away.
okay,
And then if you put Jada and Hundo together, I think whoever's open, yeah, gets the ball. So it's really a decision off my point guard. She makes the right reads, right decisions, and she knows what to look for. So, yeah, you always try to mix your players in together that create the best mismatches.
yeah. Another thing is a lot of coaches, right now might not value the mid range, but a lot of what Hunter's good at is playing in that mid range or
Yep.
like mid area post work. So what's your mindset with that? It's just like if you're good at it, go hoop, or are you threes over twos? Talk to me about that process.
We love the mid range game. I think the mid range is a lost art. Yeah, I think it's going away from it. We love it. I think, and when you have players that can make the mid range, I think you just bring another dynamic to the team that people have to guard. It makes it a little more challenging.
Heard. All right, again to the next one. This play is pretty insane. So I'll go through it not step by step. I'll let it play and then I'll go through a little bit. If Rudy, you have
Okay.
anything too, you can. Yeah, it's just a lot to. And one thing I wanted to mention about this play is like a lot of coaches have good players, but they don't get them open looks. It's like you're getting Hunter a wide open 3-pointer off of this look. But so we got a down screen here, and I'm not trying to pick on the girl, but this girl where you can't see my mouse probably, but
I can see it. Yeah.
okay, the girl guarding this screener, she just looks lost on it, but it's not her fault. It's just like there's a lot that she has to cover in this play. So it starts with a down screen, and then the point guard's going through. So what is the only read you're really trying to get is this elevator screen for Hunter, or what's going on here?
Yeah, I think this is a common play in the NBA. I stole it from the Sixers. Yeah, this one's just a straight misdirect into an elevator.
Yeah, I mean the elevator got her, but number
Yeah.
41, she's like following the ball, and then she thinks she's closing
Yeah.
out or something. I'll just run it back real quick, just so viewers can see how complicated it was.
So while it's playing, I'm just wondering, when it comes to like the timing of your sets, how do you teach that to players? Obviously, they're high IQ, you're recruiting high IQ players, but I feel like that's hard to teach almost, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, they have to pay attention to the timeout. I draw on the board. Um, it's kind of the ones that can understand the board that play, and so I think it's really important to establish that early. I think you can do that in practice, is get a board out and draw it up instead of constantly doing, placing them, visually. I think it's always important to put it on the board too, so they can get used to it. Because in the timeout, I can't go out on the floor and place them in places. You gotta
Yeah.
gotta get them used to that.
How much are you doing like 5-on-0? Because as a player, I remember we're doing 5-on-0 for another 20 minutes. Like I really don't want to do this. How much are you doing that? Because a lot of this stuff, it looks like you have to rep out a lot, but I'm curious about that process.
You and me both. When I played D1, I hated the 5-on-0. It was like the worst thing. And then you have to go game speed or else coach can make you run. It's the worst. No, we do a little bit of 5-on-0 simply because as players, we all hated it. I think it is more walking through it maybe with defense, 50%, just seeing what we want out of it. And then we can go live. So I think it depends on your team also in the year and what they're good at. This year, because of some seasoned players, we could pretty much go live or go 5-on-5 a lot.
Respect. All right, let's get into the next one. Um, so we got DHO to start. Head to the pose.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this one. So I feel like a lot of the sets are really just I don't want to say nothing to get your players like free open drives, but as we go through to like this one and the next one, I just want to focus on that too. So is it a lot of this just like empty action to get a player downhill, or is it intentional to try to get like that shooter coming off the brush screen?
Yeah, there's definitely an intent to get the right play. But I took this from a high school coach. When you get to go watch a lot of basketball, I have no shame of asking coaches, can I have that play? And so this was from a high school coach, from a player recruiting. And this is really just to get the five or a flare. But it doesn't always work out if we don't set good screens, which we didn't execute very well in the screen setting. So therefore, Hunter just created and dragged people down, which
Yeah,
was
I
good.
mean, I respect it.
Yeah.
Wide open three. A lot of your players play really good basketball and not trying to like make the home run play or the hero play, get to two and
Mm,
just find the open person.
yep. Yeah, they're not bad.
Not bad. Oh yeah, I'll just let this one run. Another thing that Hunter's really good at is using her frame.
Hmm.
Um, so like off of this one, it looks like you didn't really run anything crazy, but it's really just this stagger screen here. That this forward, I don't know if that's a forward or a guard, whatever, but they switched on to Hunter, giving her a easy like post entry.
Yeah. Yeah. These are good just to get some mismatches if we can. A lot of times it's just actions like you talked about earlier, just to get some spacing and playing.
Um,
So instead of just starting stagnant, you can get some movement.
and you could tell that like the girls on the floor, they really are intentional and knowing where's the mismatch. So like right now, the guard's not really being guarded, but she's not trying to force anything. And then as soon as Jada touches the ball, she's like, get it right back in. Like you can see her right now
Yeah.
just start pointing in the post,
Yep.
wide open three, good basketball.
Yeah.
I think there's
Yeah. It's
two.
good when when you have good players, it makes your job a lot easier.
Yeah, you got to give yourself more credit though. I think this is one of the plays I was talking about. It looks like there's a lot of nothing just to get like a open driving lane, but you could tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. That was a lot of nothing to get. Yes, you're right.
I feel like the as KJ puts it, the nothing is almost like it's like for the defense to just not stay on their principles, like a bunch of moving around and make them be out of control. Because you watch these clips, like these girls are not talking sometimes through the switches. They're like, oh, I gotta find where she's at. She just cut super quickly. Let me go chase her. She's not worried about her help principles or whether she should be bumping off the back screen or whatever. So it's just little interesting stuff
Right.
like that.
If you get him to chase you, obviously is the better, right? Close if you create long closeouts, you can get him to chase. It makes reads a lot easier.
Nah, that's a great point, Ruda. If this will play, that'd be cool. And then the next one's the last one. I think this is like an important play of the season, though. Shout out Ruda for getting this clip too.
Love this play. I love
So,
this play.
so this one, you keeping this in the back pocket, or were you saving it for like a crunch time type of look?
Yeah, we don't show these often. These are ones I have a few in my playbook that time and score, depending on when we need it.
Okay,
But sometimes I'll go a season not even running a play that I had. It's just making sure the timing's right. So you may never see this one again.
yeah, I mean that's a lot because you got Hunter coming through,
Yep.
and the main focus is like where's 20. She's coming
Yep.
all the way through, and then you just end up getting Jada a side screen wide open three. And I love the
Yep.
reaction here. You're just like get back on D. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's gonna do it for our film
Those are good
sesh.
clips. You guys found some good stuff.
Appreciate you. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good mixture of, your players are really good and they know how to play basketball. It looks like you have a veteran slash mature group, but you're also,
Mhm.
like you said, you got some stuff that you might never see again, and that great offensive minds have stuff like that.
Yeah, you gotta always have something for your players, just when we need something, and this conference is strong, as all conferences are. Coaches, they scout, and so they know what you're doing. So you got to kind of always try to hide something when you can.
I mean, talk about giving yourself more credit. I don't think we've said this out loud on the pod episode yet, but you are UC Irvine's all-time winningest women's basketball head coach. Like that is a legendary achievement, feat. And I kind of wanted you to talk about the night you got your 159th win. What do you remember about that night? Yeah.
Honestly, I don't even know who we played. I don't even know. I know I got a nice canvas. My assistants made something for me. It's a nice accolade. Honestly, like, um, the credit really does go to the players and the coaches. Like, it's not a one man show. I don't get wins. In my first year, we didn't win many games with play. It comes down to players and it comes down to the staff. So it's just grateful to be able to be in a place that is very familiar to me, and to be able to do that, with players that believe in our culture and want to stay.
I mean, definitely. I didn't mean to cut you off, Kay, if you had some, but
I was just gonna ask, like, you keep talking about, oh, it's the players this, it's the players that, but I do kind of want you to talk about how you are as a coach. Like, if you could describe your style and what you think are your positive qualities as a coach.
I'm very direct. I'm hard. I'm no easy coach. Like, if you want to come here for fun, don't come here. I think I have a job to do, and it's more than basketball with me. It's growing you, to be prepared for your next 40 to 50 years of life, and part of that comes down to high pressure, instant feedback, and pushing you to be your best. And I think that's the way you find success. Doesn't always work out that way. I think one thing I tell my players and we talk about is, you could be the hardest worker, do the most work. You can be in the first one in the gym, last out, and you could never see the floor. And then you can have a teammate that shows up, laces it up, and plays so many minutes, and that's just life. That's what you're gonna face in the real life when you get real jobs too. It's just you're just gonna get passed up, and it's just you have to be strong enough. And I think sports can teach you that if you're willing to accept it. You have to be willing to understand that it's just not fair. Like, we grow up going, oh, work hard, be on time, be good, all. Yes, that's the minimum. That's not the end. That's the minimum of entry. Now you got to perform every day in, day out. So I think for me, that's really a lot of my standard and my culture pieces, is understand that piece. If you're comparing, if you compare each other, you're in trouble. You're not gonna like it. Your experience is not gonna be very good.
it's so interesting, and also I appreciated those words too. They're really insightful, and it's interesting. Like, you look at teams, like how I honestly found you and your program. I was just looking through the top conferences in women's basketball right now. Who's at the top, right? And obviously you guys are killing right now, and but there's no surprise to why y'all are so good, because you hold your team to a high standard. You hold your players to a high standard. You have elite coaches, however one through however many you may have, like all around just an elite program. And there's no surprise why UC Irvine is top of the top.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the recognition. You guys seeing that. We work really hard here, and so do a lot of people. But it is nice to get recognized. The program especially.
For sure. And I think if KJ doesn't have another one, this is going to be our last question before we get into rapid fire. You guys are 16-2 right now, if I'm not mistaken, right? A lot of season left, but I'm just curious, like, what do you see for the rest of the group? What are the goals to achieve for the rest of the season? What's on the plate right now, Coach?
I mean, I think the goal every year is to get to March Madness. I think that is a standard. That is what we want to be. I think that's why I coach. And I think that's why players come here to play. But for us, if we look too far ahead, I think we can get distracted and upsets will happen or lose. So I think the biggest thing that we focus on is just the present day. And Riverside's up next, and they're a good team. And anybody on. We've been doing this for too long now to know if you overlook anyone, they can beat you. So I think for us, it's the goal is of course March Madness, but right now it's just incrementally getting better, making sure players are improving. If bench players are getting in and improving, and our starters are just consistent and improving, that is the goal. And I think that's what we really want to make sure it continues to happen.
For sure. Definitely excited to see where UC Irvine women's basketball goes for the rest of the season. And I know I can speak for KJ when I say this. We're big fans of UC Irvine women's basketball now, for sure.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, you got fans in us for sure. But we got rapid fire. You ready, Coach?
Let's go.
All right, let's do it. So first rapid fire question I got for you. What is your favorite Big West conference trip?
Oh, close ones. Long Beach and back. We're in our own bed at the same time as an away game. Those are the fun ones. Just to get back into our beds. So anything that's within driving distance that we're back in our own bed.
That's fair, because you'll hear some of the players. The players would be like, "Oh, I don't know too many of the cities in Cali like that, but a fun city, like, oh, that's my favorite city to go to."
Yeah. No, whenever I get in my own bed, that's my favorite.
Yeah. No, that makes sense for sure. That makes sense. Next rapid fire question I got for you: who is a coach that I don't want to say like admire, but you always love like playing, coaching against, competing against? Just interested in that.
I think recently it's been Laura Beeman at Hawaii. I think we've had some really good battles, and Jen Gross at UC Davis. I think we've always had some really good battles through and through the years. They've made me better because they came in when I came into this conference. They were at the top, and so to continue to climb and get to their level and compete with them has really pushed me to be better.
That's awesome. Always love the shout outs. And the last rapid fire question I have for you, this definitely could be like a long-winded answer. You could take it with you. You could take it as how you see fit. But you played obviously Division I women's basketball. You played overseas, and now you're coaching. So you've seen the evolution of women's basketball from. You've seen many different eras of women's basketball.
I'm old. Yes. Lots of games, lots of years.
Yeah. So, but just talk about how you've seen the game grow and what you see from it.
I think the NCAA women's basketball, consider men's basketball has quarters. I mean, a half still, and no advancement rule. I think the women's game has done a really good job of trying to advance it. I think from Val Ackerman's white paper report, about, maybe 12 years ago now, to just understanding and researching our game. I think the growth of it has been really instrumental, especially with the W taking off. I think we did a really good job of backing Caitlin Clark, and now UConn and Paige and AZ. Like, those are the recent ones. I wish back then they would have highlighted the great players back then, but we're catching on. Now that we're getting units like the men in the NCAA, I think that's an exciting piece for women's basketball to show the buy-in is big. I'm lucky to live in Southern California. We have Juju Watkins, and I think just players like that just grow our game in a great way. When I played, we're lucky to even get a TV game, or we didn't. The internet was dial up, so it's just to be able to see us every day. Every game of ours can be streamed and watched. I think that's also a really positive thing. That's how you grow it. Marketing can always be better. Pushing our programs can always be better. And showing our product can always be better. But I think we're moving in the right direction, which is nice to see the growth. At least we're not stagnant. And that's the fun part about being in this women's basketball.
Yeah, we didn't even touch on your playing career, but you were nice yourself, so definitely have to shout that out. And also shout out Val Ackerman. We had her on the pod, I think it was like last summer or something, so shout out to her. That's the GOAT. But we're going to end this episode with a starting five edition. So as a coach, you're building a lineup, point guard through center. Who's your lineup going to be? And this edition is going to be the best Big West players that you've coached against.
Nationally or in my conference you're talking about?
Just Big West. So like in the conference?
I mean, I'm taking my players, all five. There's no
All five.
question.
So then I'll switch it to UC Irvine players. You gotta build a lineup with them.
My lineup is I'm riding and dying my team day in day out. I'll never change. I don't waver. I believe in each and one of my players, and that's the ones that they want to be with me. I want to be with them. It's good to play against other teams, and but my players are my heart, and that's who I ride with day in day out.
Nah, I love that. That'll make my editing a little bit easier.
It's easy
I got a different one though. Who was the like toughest player you had to scout for? Just one.
in the conference.
Ever.
Oh, ever? Who did we? Oh, Sabrina Ionescu.
Oh.
Yeah,
Ooh.
Sabrina Ionescu.
How
That
much
was
did she have against you guys?
I don't even remember. I was hoping the lights would shut off, by halftime or something. But that was a fun game to be in, just because they were going to win that national title. So yeah, she was the toughest one to go up against.
That's tough. Well, we definitely appreciate you getting on the pod. This gonna release after the game, but good luck tomorrow. Good luck the rest of the year. Like Rudy said, we're gonna be following, and like you said, we gotta get to the big dance.
Yeah, I appreciate you too. Thank you so much.
That'll do it for our conversation with Coach Inoue. Shout out to her for getting on in the midst of the season. I hope they keep rolling, bro. 17-3. Like I do think they're gonna keep rolling. I think they're gonna win the Big West, and then Coach Inoue is gonna have them prepared for March Madness. And again, if she's listening, she's not gonna look ahead to that. But those are just my predictions for the season. What you think?
Not for sure. I mean, they definitely got the players to do it. I mean, some of the stats that I didn't say in the intro: top 25 in opponents' points per game, top 40 in the country in scoring margin, and 35th in the country in three-point percentage. I mean, those are all statistics that you can't blink twice at. They're killing it right now, and I expect them to have to finish the year off strong. Honestly.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I'm just looking at her career. Her first year at UC Irvine, they went 5-26, and now you talk about them. They've had already 4 consecutive years of 20-plus wins, and now they're about to make that a fifth.
And I don't even think we mentioned how I think she's the all-time winningest coach at UC Irvine in women's basketball history, which Coach Inoue, if you're listening again, that's a huge honor. Shout out to you. But she's a legend for sure.
Yeah. So we end these episodes with our little Not Even D2 spotlight. Some people are saying that we might be bad luck. Your spotlight last week, the team was undefeated. Mount Union was 16-0, ranked top 5 in the country in D3, and then they lost back-to-back 2 conference games they shouldn't have lost. And then obviously this episode, they were on a 15-game winning streak. They lost. So I guess Not Even D2 has some type of curse. So hopefully with this spotlight this week, they continue to roll. But my spotlight, actually, I want you to go first this time.
All right, so for my first pick, I'm going with Coach Ludwig of Santa Clara. They are right behind Gonzaga in the WCC. Shout out to him. They're having a great year this year. No surprise to why they're doing so well with a coach like Coach Ludwig and Coach Sendick over at Santa Clara.
Yeah, shout out to my guy, Coach Ludwig. My spotlight, I'm going to go Maggie Dugan. And Maggie Dugan, we talked with her last summer. She's been on a tear this year. She was already in a lot of mock drafts coming into the year, but her stock is rising as the day goes on. I mean, a few days ago she had 48-13. That's not something you say all the time. I think that's the highest score
It's
that
not.
anyone's
It's not a little bag.
That's not a little bag. She's top 6 in the country in scoring, averaging 23.2 points per game. I'm assuming she's up there for rebounds too. I can look real quick while I'm talking, but 48-13 in a close win against Davidson. Shout out to Coach Folks as well. But apparently she's not in the top for rebounds, but she's averaging 23, 8, and 5 or something. So her stock is rising. Like I said, shout out to Maggie Dugan. That's going to do it for our spotlight and this episode of Not Even D2. Like I said in the intro, make sure you subscribe. Go follow us at Not Even D2. We appreciate all the support. Also, if you're looking for any merchandise, we just released some of that. Coach Inoue, you might have to get some yourself. And we'll see you next week on Thursday.